Magicians are infiltrating Disney Lorcana, and you can miss a Pete trigger. All that and so much more in this week's Lorcana Alert. On YouTube this week, everybody's talking about all the different meta reports, and my favorite one has been Lorcana Goons. He talked about all the different decks that won the Charlie's Collectible 10K in Atlanta this week. Spoilers, it was Steel Song, but not the Steel Song you think. It was Steel Song with lanterns. Ooh. On Twitter this week, Lorcanafanatics posted about meeting Matthew Robert Davies. That's the guy who drew Elsa. They had him sign a couple of their enchanted Elsa cards, and you can see all the different Elsa's drawings that he's doing. This one has a little Olaf on it. That's wonderful. They even drew on a discard card and wrote his name, Matthew. Ooh, that one has an Archimedes. Thank you so much to Matthew Robert Davies for contributing to this community. While I was editing this video, Disney Lorcana tweeted that the tide is coming in, and with it comes a new Lorecast. That's right, we're going to get some teasers for the next set over on Twitch September 10th at 1 p.m. How exciting. I love Lorecast. I am probably going to live stream my reaction to it, so stay tuned to our YouTube. On to our news from Reddit. Lorcana is coming to Japan in January of 2025. That's super exciting. Hopefully there's a whole DLC bracket for Japan and we can all come together. I come from Pokemon, where the Japanese players usually dictate the meta, so I'm very excited to see what the different market does to Lorcana and its meta. Usually some decks are changed up and better combinations are found. Either way, it looks like a win-win. Over on Reddit, people like asking for help with their deck. And this person posted that they would love some tips on this deck. Well, I got news for you, buddy. You have Flounder in there, so it's a perfect deck. This deck is the one that you should play. No changes needed. If you have Flounder, it's the deck for you. I saw this next post on Facebook first, but a magician recreated what it's like to open Shimmering Skies. It's all Zazu. It always has been. He turns every card into Zazu, just like our bulk. On Instagram this week, Lorcana Librarian reposted Ready Set Ink on their story. Wow, that's so exciting. What's even cooler is Lorcana Librarian just launched their new podcast. It's over on YouTube and everywhere else where podcasts are available. I watched it on YouTube. You can go subscribe. The link is in the description, along with all the other links that we've talked about in this video. The podcast features two members of Team Labyrinth, RMB and Humble. It was great to hear about their experiences in Toronto and what they did and how they bonded, and also different challenges that they've been to, including Charlie's Collectible trade shows. Also on Instagram, user Evasiveink posted this custom card called the Mortal Potion. It's the Mortal Potion, you know, the thing that made Hercules only half of a god? It's a fan-made card, but it just makes sense. It's a one-cost inkable item. For 2 ink, you banish this item. All opposing characters lose evasive until the start of your next turn. I think this card is awfully spicy, and I think it's just about the right cost curve for 1 and then 2. It's a good idea. I love seeing cards like this. The big news of the week is Pete. We need to talk about Pete. Pete has an ability, Blow the Whistle. When you play this character, opponents can't play actions until the start of your next turn. So what's this ability and why is there a controversy? Seems pretty cut and dry. Pete is what's known as a triggered ability. According to the comprehensive rules 7.4.2, triggered abilities start with when, whenever, at the start of, or at end of, and describe the game state that causes the ability to trigger and the effects of the ability. So Pete is a triggered ability, and this description here is telling us what triggers that ability. And another reminder, even if Pete is taken off the board for some reason, the game remembers that Pete was played. It's not just because Pete is there, it's because the ability was triggered. Kyle from Ravensburger says, in our eyes, the trigger has been acknowledged when it would actually matter to the game state. So that means like if your opponent tried to play an action, then that trigger would matter. So are you not saying Pete when you play it? Is that acknowledging the trigger? So if your opponent plays an action after you've played Pete, but the trigger is reminded of during that interaction, the trigger was not missed because the player demonstrated awareness when it would matter. The player who played the action would be allowed to take everything back, including the cost paid for that action. So to recap, Be nice when you're playing Lorcana. Don't try to rule shark. If your opponent plays an action, they couldn't have played it, so the cost doesn't go through. You have Pete on board. You had played Pete. The trigger went in the bag and is resolved and stays that way until the start of your next turn. Actions can't be played. Let me know if I did a terrible job explaining that in the comments section down below. For our meta report this week, Steel won the Charlie's Collectible Trade Show 10K in Atlanta, Georgia last weekend. So you better believe Amber Steel is going to be one of the top decks at your locals this week and hot for the Vegas Challenge. I'm a big Amber Steel fan, and I'm pretty sure that this is the deck that I'm going to play at locals this week. This deck doesn't have any flutes. It has one item, and it's Lanterns. Lanterns lets you get out characters earlier. Lantern is like a permanent extra ink until it gets removed somehow, and I like it. I've seen some Sapphire Emerald decks that have been able to play Clarabelle as early as turn 4 using ramping cards like Tipo and Fishbone to get up to 7 ink on their turn 4, and then boom, there's Clarabelle. For our market watch this week, we are looking at the top price cards, and we're seeing cases fall below $400 a case. That means that 4 boxes aren't even worth $100 at that point. But with the shipping, it usually goes up. Like this listing here, I believe that it's $15 shipping. Nope, I was wrong. They're under $100 a box if you buy them as a case, which is great news. The D23 Lorcana stuff has gone up about $20 this last week. So if you want your D23 Lorcana collection, maybe it's a good time to get it. I don't know. The Ursula Deceiver from the D23 set is selling right now for around $90. That's over half the value of the D23 box. This one is selling for the entire cost of the D23 box. So don't get that one. Am I right? How many have sold? There's 22 available right now, and it looks like there was 3 that sold the other day. None over the last couple days. Doesn't look like a lot of people are buying it for this $90 mark, but if you're in the market for one, maybe just get the whole D23 set. The Rapunzel Gifted with Healing is the highest legendary cost card, and followed up by the Robin Hood, Champion of Sherwood. Beast has maintained his $480 mark, and the Clarabelle, Light on Her Hooves, is holding strong at $34. What's this card right over here? Let's talk about it. This is Prince John, the gold lever Disney Lorcana promo card, and it comes in this box of Villainous. Do you know how much this box of Villainous cost? It cost me $31 at my local grocery store, and I got a $32 promo card out of this box. What's going on? I made $1 by buying this box? I don't know. If you're going hunting for one, make sure that it has this sticker on it. If it doesn't say Lorcana promo inside and it's like kind of a silver box, it ain't the box for you. You want the one that's a teal tint and has this very specific sticker that says Lorcana on it. What are you going to do if somebody plays Pete against you? Let me know in the comment section down below. Ready Set Inc. is now over 796 subscribers. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe.